very special day. We have two speakers from India from Ortho TV channel, Dr. Neeraj Bijlani and Dr. Ashok Shyam from Ortho TV in a very interesting topic, which is the smart apparatus for smart doctors. And from Egypt, we have Professor Radwan Metwaly, Assistant Professor of Orthopedic Surgery in Shyam University. He will speak about care of the elderly fracture, the orthogeriatric approach, which is a very interesting topic. I would like to thank very much my dear friend, Dr. Srinivas Kambhampati from India, for his great effort to moderate and to prepare this course. Thank you so much, my friend, for your great effort. And after 2 weeks, we will have a great webinar, which is the International Trauma Webinar, which is more than 50 speakers, 35 speakers from all Egyptian universities and hospitals, 10 speakers from India, and 7 speakers from UK and Ireland. It will be a great webinar discussing all the topics of trauma, upper limb trauma, lower limb trauma, pediatric trauma, spine trauma, disastrous cases, all the aspects of trauma. I hope all of you can get benefit from such a webinar. Our first speaker will be Dr. Neeraj, and he will speak about smart apparatus for smart doctors, and Dr. Srinivas will moderate his talk. Dr. Srinivas, please, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Professor El-ashhab, for the opportunities as always. And I would like to thank the Egyptian Orthopedic Association, IOA, and Orthopedics, Ortho TV for their involvement and opportunities. Tonight, we have an interesting team and talks, not the usual orthopedic talk, but something that we will have a growing presence in the future. We are joined by 2 members in the panel who have done a lot of work on Ortho TV. They are the co-founders of the Ortho TV, Dr. Ashok, Shyam, and Dr. Neeraj Bijlani, who have been working tirelessly on this portal. And they are well known among our Indian orthopedic surgeons, as most of the webinars these days are being telecast by Ortho TV. Dr. Neeraj will be talking on smart apps for smart surgeons, and Dr. Ashok will continue after Dr. Neeraj finishes. Thank you, Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Ashok, for accepting the invite. I'm sure the viewers will take a lot of useful tips on getting organized using the smart apps in this increasingly chaotic world. A brief introduction. Dr. Neeraj Bijlani is a chief consultant orthopedic surgeon and tech enthusiast. He works at the Ortho Tech clinic in Mumbai, Maharashtra, India. And he's an experienced orthopedic surgeon with a history of working with health, wellness, and fitness industry. He's skilled in spine, orthopedic surgery, trauma surgery, and sports. He has a strong healthcare services professional and is graduated from College of Physicians and Surgeons. And he's also a tech enthusiast with over a decade of experience in teaching technology to doctors in the form of courses and conferences. He's a co-founder of Ortho TV. And Dr. Ashok Shyam is the founder and editor of Ortho TV. He's from Thane, Maharashtra in India. He is a consultant orthopedic surgeon and orthopedic clinical scientist, passionate about developing new ideas in technology related to orthopedic education, and well-versed in clinical orthopedic surgery and academic orthopedic research. Is more than 250 peer-reviewed publications and editor-in-chief of 2 national journals. He is the founder and head of IORG and Facebook that heads the current scenario of Indian orthopedic research. And he's founded the Ortho TV global platform for orthopedic resources, webinars, podcasts, and created a network of more than 40,000 surgeons. He's also founder of Anesthesia TV, Physio TV, Rheumat TV, and Pain TV, and founder of Journal of Orthopedic Case Reports, multiple journals really, and developer of mobile apps as well. And the list goes on. He's editor of Journal of Medical Thesis, director of Arthritis Clinic, and editor-in-chief of JOCR and Journal of Orthopedics and Rehab. He's also a board member of Indian Journal of Orthopedics and consultant orthopedic surgeon at Sancheti Institute of Orthopedics and Rehab. Thank you very much, Dr. Ashok and Dr. Neeraj Bijlani. Please take it forward. Thanks.
Unmute yourself, Neeraj. Neeraj, you need to unmute yourself.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this was one cartoon which I used to show maybe 6-7 years back in my first presentation on the mobile apps. I think it was somewhere in the year of 2000, maybe 10 years back, 2013 or 14. And this syllabus this year has going to be the following apps. And you will not believe in 2020, all this came true. When we had the lockdown and online schools, there were apps like Zoom, Google Meet, Google Classroom, Kahoot, and so on, where all our children studied their formal education for almost 2 years using mobile apps. So here I'm going to just show you some smart apps. These are not, most of them are already known to you and many of you are already using it. And I'm just going to show you how I use it. So maybe you can also learn what extra can we do with these apps. So I am consultant orthopedic surgeon. I'm director of Ortho Tech Clinic and Ortho TV Global. So we come with the most basic app, which is WhatsApp. And I will show you some basic privacy settings, which you can just put it on in your WhatsApp. And the best thing will be that you do it along with me. You hold your phone and do it along with me. This is a demo on the iPhone, but it also works on the Android. For the iPhone, you have to go at the bottom of your screen. And you can just see that there is something called as settings. And you have to go in the settings. And for the Android, you have to go in the WhatsApp main screen on the right side top. There is 3 dots and then there is settings. And those who have updated their app, now their Android app also looks like the same. So what do we change in the privacy settings? And what I keep, I'll just show you. So what I keep is my last scene can be seen by nobody. Last scene is the time when I was online. So I always keep it nobody. I don't, because sometimes I have the habit, whether I get up in the morning or before I sleep, I see my WhatsApp. I don't want people to know that I have opened my WhatsApp at night. My profile photo, though I have kept it to everyone, if you are using your phone for professional reasons, then you can keep it to everyone, but see to it that you do not pull your children's photo or your spouse's photo there. Just keep your photo as your profile photo. Profile photo is the same as DP, display pic. About is again everyone, because I gave information about my appointments in my about. And groups is, again, I allow everyone. There are some people who don't want to be added to the group, so they can either keep it no one or they can keep it my contacts. Status is basically something which I update every time. It's like the Instagram stories if you want to do it. Live location, whatever happens, should always be none. And of course, there are so many people who just keep on spamming your WhatsApp. You can directly just block them. That is what I do. This is an old screenshot of 102. Right now, I have more than 300 blocked contacts. There is one more very important thing which I keep off. So people who have WhatsApp me always say that you don't reply very easily because they don't come to know, because I keep my blue tick off. So these are the read receipts which we can keep it off. And but thing is that WhatsApp plays a fair game, that if you don't show yours, you cannot see others. So if I keep my read receipts off, that is, if I don't show the blue ticks, I cannot see anyone's blue ticks. So that is your choice, whether you want to keep it off or not. I like to keep it off because I don't want people to know that I have read their message. So these are some basic privacy settings which I would like to press on the importance. And maybe you can try it out. If you like it, then you can continue. If you don't like it, you can always change it. Then we come to something called as private group, though now that is gone. And that is why where I'm going to stop my presentation and I'm going to show you my mobile screen. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my mobile screen?
Yes, sir. We can see it.
So now I go into the WhatsApp and I show you this live. Earlier, I used to form a private group with was only myself. Now you actually don't need it. So there are 2-3 things. Now you can actually message to yourself. So if you go and search, you can go and search for yourself. Like my name is Neeraj Bijlani. And this is my own number. So the blue tick is here because I'm sending the messages to myself. So these are the messages which I'm trying to send to myself, which I want to save the numbers or whatever is important. I'm trying to send it to myself. That is one trick. Second trick is that if you see there are a lot of numbers which I've sent to myself. So why do I do that? Supposing I want to send someone WhatsApp as a one time, and I don't want the number to be saved to avoid my privacy. I just type the number and send it here. And then I have to just tap on the number and it gives me an option. If it is on WhatsApp, I can directly start the chatting without saving the number. That is one trick. Now, the latest feature which came about after this is that is why I did not save a number recently. Now you can actually go and directly message a number like a SMS, how you do. You go into the new message and you type anybody's number. For example, I'll just type this number, a random number. And it looks up that this person is available on WhatsApp. Directly chat. I click on chat. So without saving the number, now you can start the chatting. So this is the latest feature which WhatsApp has come out with. So this is how I use WhatsApp. And this is how I do. Now more privacy settings. Let me come to more privacy settings. I'll just go to our group. Egyptian Orthopedic Association group. And supposing if I want to send a photo, which I don't want you to view again and again, So I will going to I'm going to show you how it is to be done. So you can see my phone screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. So I'll just say, for example, I want to send a photo, which I want you to view only once. So what I'll do, for example, this is the photo which I will like to send. And this is a conference photo which I took today of my friend when he was presenting a surgical technique. And I want someone to see this photo only once. This could be surgical photo. It could be any other photo. I want you to see it. So if you see on the bottom, there is something called as 1 with a circle. So I will click on it. And if you see, it has become now blue. And then I will send it. So all of you can open that group and you can see it that you have got something called as photo. The moment you open the photo, neither you will be able to take the screenshot, but you'll be able to see it only once. Once you have opened the photo, you cannot open it again and see it. So that is again one more privacy setting where you can view the photo only once. And then there are other options. Let me now stop my screen share and go back to my presentation. So there is something called as WhatsApp Web, which we all have been using for many years now. So now you can link multiple devices on it. So I have linked 4 devices. This is only 2, but I have linked actually 4 devices on my computer. Means supposing it's on my laptop, it is on my desktop. I can even link another mobile now. So supposing if you're carrying 2 mobiles, you don't need to have 2 separate WhatsApp. You can have the same WhatsApp and different numbers. The advantage which I use to my maximum is that when my iPhone went for repairs, the same WhatsApp was working on Android without any hassles. So you can now use the same WhatsApp on multiple computers and multiple devices. You can even use it on an iPad or a tab. If you want to keep a separate phone number on the same phone and you want to communicate with patients only, or you want to basically communicate for business purposes only, then you should use something called as WhatsApp Business. So how do I use it? It has got these features like clinic timings. I can put a Google Map link. I can put a website link. You can also put catalog. So there was one doctor who has put different types of surgeries which he does as catalog, like a laser surgery or a deformity correction, something like that. And you can create some short links and a QR code where the patient can directly scan. So this QR code is printed on my stationery everywhere. It's on my visiting card, on my letterhead, on my files, where if the patient wants to connect with my clinic, he directly scans this QR code using the normal camera app and he enters my WhatsApp and he can directly message. This WhatsApp is taken care by my assistant. who replies for all appointments. And if any patient related or any clinical problem is there, then she forwards me the message and I reply to the patient. So you can have two numbers on the phone. Let me again show you how that works. I will again stop the screen share and show you my phone screen. So are you able to see my phone screen?
Yes, sir.
So if you see, there are two WhatsApp. One is with the 20 icon, that is a WhatsApp business with a B in the center. And on the bottom, this is the normal WhatsApp. This is the normal one. And this is the business one. If you see, the business is a different. See, as soon as you open the business, it gives you my QR code. So it will directly take you that to the QR code. So this is the QR code which is printed everywhere. It's not coming. I don't know why. So anyways, and then there is this. This is my Ortho TV number. And I'll just show you how the business works and what extra it has got. Something called as business tools. You go here and you go to your profile and it can show. You can have a banner on it. Then you can have a business name. There is a phone number. Then is a description. You can add business hours here. You can add your physical address here. Your email address also can be added. Website can be added. And so on and so forth. And of course, there are some catalogs which I have not added because Ortho TV does not have catalog. You can connect it to your Facebook and you can connect it to your Instagram. As you can see, our Facebook now has 22,000 followers and our Instagram has 13,000 followers. So that is how you can do it. I have also put a demonstration catalog. Let me show you a demonstration catalog. So I have put maybe a bipolar arthroplasty surgical demonstration where I've just shown how the pre or post-op X-ray looks and the patient is walking in this. So it's like a simple demo. So this is the catalogs which you can create for yourself as an orthopedic surgeon. So when the patient lands on your business WhatsApp, they can actually see what surgeries you are capable of doing. So these are some things about WhatsApp business. Then I'll go back to my presentation again and I'll show you something which besides WhatsApp, what else can your phone do? So if you see normally whenever we take a photo of the MRI, this is how it turns up. It gives you a blue tinge and it gives you a lot of patient identity, which we don't want. So earlier there was apps like you had to download a separate app called Photoshop Express or PixArt, but right now you don't need those apps. You can do this simple editing using even WhatsApp or using your basic Photos app. You can give it a filter of a grayscale and you can crop the photo. I'll just give a demo of that on my phone. Say for example, I will have to find the X-ray because this phone nowadays has got too many photos but X-rays. Yes. For example, this MRI. So though I have clicked it very tic-tactfully, see there is a patient name here. So now how do I edit it? I just go on the top, I click on edit, and then I get a lot of options of cutting. So if you see on the bottom, there are three icons. I click on the last one, and there I get the options of either I have to straighten it. So I can it gives me a bracket which I can cut. Now it's cutting in a specific way. I don't want to cut it in that way. So I select on the top this icon and I get something called as freeform. When I select freeform, I can shape it however I want. So I want these two images here. I want this. Once I done with this part, if you see this looks now neat and clean, then I click on done. Now I want to edit it further. So I go back on edit and then this time I want to change the color pattern. I want to make it black and white. So I go here on the second icon, which has got three circles, and it gives me multiple options of colors. And I would like to select either mono, which looks pure black and white, or sometimes a noir, depending on how the X-ray has come. Most of the time, the mono part will work. And I have these editing options at the bottom where I can change the color of the filter. And then I click on done. And this is how I get the image. The only thing is that always remember when you are editing it in iPhone, Now this is your final image. The original image is gone. So always be aware when you are editing, make a copy of it preferably and then edit it. Now, how do I make a copy of it? I just click on here and there is an option of copy photo. So just copy photo and then basically edit that photo. Otherwise, your original photo may get lost. So this is how I do basic simple photo editing on the iPhone. Then I'll show you how we can make grids, photo grids, or how can we make multiple combined collages using your basic app. The app which I use is called Photo Grid. You can also make a photo grid using the photos and video combined. That is how I'm going to show you combined photo and video collage. So this is the demo. So this is the Photo Grid app. It's got a free version with advertisements. You can use that. Let me show you now. I'll just select 4 photographs in this. So when I was during the lockdown, when I visited Sancheti Hospital for the first time, they had the O-arm installed. And I took some photos of the O-arm surgery and how the navigation works and how it looks. And as many of you know that I like to do technology, so I selected 4 photos. Then I tried to select the layout on the top. You can select multiple layouts, but I went with the basic layout. That is the first one. And after that, these 4 photos are automatically there. Now I have to adjust these photos. Some have gone out of sight. So I adjust the photos. As you can see, I'm now adjusting the photos. This is one of the videos which I have inserted of the navigation. And this is on the upper side, I'm adjusting the photo. Then I want to show the video on that so that I'm looking towards the navigation. So all these small minor adjustments you can do. These are 2 videos and 2 photos attached here. And after doing the adjustment, all these small minor adjustments, these are with your finger. This is just, and I make that photo black and white, everything, all filters, everything, the sound, whatever you want to do, you want to remove, you can do it. And then I just save it as a 720p because that is what the free version allows me to do it. It is saved as a small video on my mobile. And I'll just show you how the video looks. This is how the video looks. It's a small video of few seconds. So it collage really looks quite well. So this shows that I basically, the spine surgeon, Dr. Shailesh, is showing me how the navigation works. And this is a zoomed version of the navigation part. And this is the photo of the O-arm. And this is photo with Dr. Parag Sancheti. Now we come to the latest part of my presentation. And that is which everybody is waiting for is the AI. Somebody is asking cybercrime, what is the remedy? Maybe I'll answer it in the Q&A. Yeah. So AI, basically everybody knows that the AI has been there since a very long time. We will not go into definition. Artificial intelligence is there and here to stay. The main thing which was the catalyst for artificial intelligence was the first part, which is called the Chat GPT, where they actually came out with an interface which could give us answers to our queries like a human being, that is the main important thing which came. And most of the things which came later are built on Chat GPT. So what I'm going to show you is now a demo of the Chat GPT. I am going to show you a demo of the PDF.ai and if time permits of the right Sonic. Perplexity is again based on Chat GPT, so we'll not go into that. And there is something called as text to image, which is mid-journey. And there are many other aspects which Dr. Ashok will be talking about. So let me take you to first part, which is the Chat GPT. So this is how the mobile app looks. So Chat GPT has 2 versions. One is the free version, which is the 3.5, which is here, which is quite fast. And 4 is the most capable model. It is more accurate. The disadvantage of using Chat GPT is it's static, that the database is updated only till 21. So let me ask a question to it. Let me make Chat GPT write a blog. So I will send it to the 3.5. Consider yourself a knee surgeon and write a blog on patient education of maybe knee arthroplasty or knee replacement surgery for the osteoarthritis of the knee. And if you see, it starts writing the blog. And it's almost so quick and it's quite accurate. And then you get this whole text, which you can either edit it, you can use it as patient education material, and you can even save it, you can even share it. It's like a link, you can directly share it to anyone on WhatsApp also, and somebody has access to it. So this is very good when patient education is concerned. So I feel I write it a lot. I am actually developing my new website using all these blogs. Some minor edits are required sometime here and there because it is not 100% accurate, but it's quite accurate. Now, if we tell the same thing for the 4, we can also give the same option, and we can go in new chat and tell the chat GPT-4 to write it. This is how I copy it. And then supposing if I tell the chat GPT-4 to write the same thing, I paste the same question here. Now remember, chat GPT 3.5 is free. Chat GPT-4 is paid. You have to pay $20 US a month. So you see how it is. It is a little better. It is more better. It is getting all these bold things. It is asking, it is like an FAQ. Then it is also basically for the patient, it is saying it as a first person that, okay, candidates, what are you a candidate for a knee replacement? It's what to expect. So this is more accurate, and this is more better where the blog writing is concerned. It gives you much more features compared to the ChatGPT 3.5. So people who are using it for the first time, I would tell them that you try using ChatGPT maybe 3.5 for maybe a month or so. And if you're using it enough, and if you feel that it is being used, then you use it then you maybe make it $20. You will not believe this ChatGPT we've been using since it came out. So when it came out, my daughter told me that I have to write an essay and she was struggling. So I just told her, why don't you tell ChatGPT? So she told me, what is ChatGPT? That time there was no app. So I just told her that you log on to the mobile, I log on to the web interface, and then do it and just tell ChatGPT to write an essay. So let me just show you how I use it on a day-to-day basis. So this is how the chat GPT looks. Again, we have two options, 3.5 and 4. 4 on the computer has very nice plugins where you can chat with a website, where you are Scholar AI for the articles. It can even give you video insights. So you can maybe post a YouTube video of Ortho TV and it will give you the insights of that. So that is also very good. But let me show you very simple things like I was talking about an essay. So, or maybe a book summary. So supposing there are these popular books called The Psychology of Money. So we'll ask ChatGPT, will you be able to summarize? So we'll just ask, will you be able to, can you consider? So about this ChatGPT, most important is this prompt, which is important. So consider yourself an English literature expert and please summarize the book Psychology of Money. So see, it summarized the book, Personal Finance, but it is not of English. It also is telling you that it's not, but rather a book about personal finance and behavioral economics written by Morgan Housel. Now, same thing, let's go and try to do it in the ChatGPT 4 and see if there is any difference. See, it gives you a better summary, broad range of outcomes, luck and risk, never enough, compounding, so this gives you a much better summary. So ChatGPT 4 is definitely better. And what I have recently heard is that ChatGPT is OpenAI, which is a company which runs ChatGPT. They have already registered a patent for ChatGPT 5. So it's just a matter of time. This 4 will become free and then they will start charging for the 5. We are hoping for that and all of us will get access to the 4. So this is ChatGPT. Then we come on, before my time gets over, let me just show you one more thing, which is something called as pdf.ai. There is a website, and let's get started for free. It allows free. So I have, you can upload any document. So what I'll just show you how it works right from the beginning. So for example, you have to upload a PDF. Maximum size allowed is 10 MB. So let me upload this same PDF which I was showing you. TKR implant choices. And I just upload it here. It is also based on the same. This is how it works. The backend is again ChatGPT only, OpenAI. And if you see, it has loaded the whole PDF. Now, if I want to ask a question, okay, what are the various implant choices for TKR? And it also gives me the page in the PDF where it is. It is a 30-page PDF if you see, and it gives me a page 5 and page 8 where it's taken the reference from. So it summarized the PDF also. So it's like you're chatting with the PDF. So if you have a book of say maybe 50 pages or 100 pages and you want to ask it questions, it will give you the answers. Studying has become quite easier than what it was 1 year back, I can say. And then there is something called as Chat Sonic, which gives you live answers. Like I went in Chat Sonic, and then I can just say who won the prize for Nobel Prize for Medicine in 22, and it gives me the website links directly, which ChatGPT does not give. So this is all extension of ChatGPT. We can just keep on going discussing, but I think here I will stop and I will hand over to Ashok, and he can take it from here and tell us about text to image conversion, where AI is concerned.
Yeah. So I'll take you through the basics of text to AI generation. Share my screen. So it is a very, very interesting coming up field. Yeah. Very limited application for orthopedic surgeons, but like I said, it's a newly developing field, and as it goes on, it will come into play in our daily lives. So it's better to start early and start to know about this particular technology. And one of the most well-known apps that we have is Midjourney. So Midjourney is like what ChatGPT is for text-to-text communication. So Midjourney is text-to-image generation is what ChatGPT is to the language model. So it is a it is the topmost app currently for generating text from image. There are other apps also I'll take you through, but most of these apps work through something called as Discord. Now, Discord is a very different kind of chat bot. Something I'll not say it's similar to WhatsApp, but it is based on similar concept where people can chat with each other, but it can create communities and it can have its own server. So it is technologically much more advanced, which is this thing called as Discord. So I'll take you to my browser. Here you can download this Discord on your laptop or even on your phone. So it has an app also. So once you go on Discord and create your account, only then you can start using most of the text to AI, at least Midjourney. Now this is my Discord server. So you can see all this is on my Discord server. So this is how Discord looks. If somebody is not aware of how Discord looks, this is how it looks. And one of the basic aspect of text to AI generation is what is called as prompts. Now, prompts are even in ChatGPT, in almost all the AI models. They need to be told specifically with certain keywords what we want them to do for us. It's similar to like PubMed searching. So Srinivas knows about PubMed searching, how we use keywords, how we use Boolean operators, and how you use different phrases to connect to each other, and then ask it to search the database. Similarly, these are prompts that tell the software, the AI software, to generate these particular images. So one of the easiest way to get these prompts are through ChatGPT. So this is my ChatGPT account. So I'm asking ChatGPT, if I am an orthopedic surgeon and I want to generate an image of knee joint in a patient using Midjourney, please make a prompt. Now, this is not a very good prompt. If you can refine it, make it better, it will give me a better prompt for Midjourney, but it still gives me an option of 2 prompts. So what I do is I copy these prompts. So I copied this one. Okay.
So we can only see this PowerPoint. We cannot see anything else.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Yes, okay. The screen is not moving, sir.
Okay. Did you not see the Discord? Okay, I'll take you.
No, Discord never opened only. I think you were sharing only the PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Let me share the screen then. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So now here is the Discord that I showed you. So you could see this screen, right? Earlier?
Now we can see it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We can see it.
So this is the Discord screen where you can download for Windows or download for Apple or even in your mobile device. Once you download Discord and log in, it will open something like this. These are all servers on the left-hand side. Okay. So something like a group on WhatsApp. What is a server? So you can create your own group or you can join some other group. So we have Ortho TV group also on Discord server. So once I am in the Midjourney board, so this is the Midjourney board, which is on a server. So I connect to it. Now Midjourney is no longer a free app. It is a paid app. It is costing around $10 a month. But if you want to experience this technology, this is the best app to experience it. So like I said, prompts are the basic ingredients of any AI technology. So I asked ChatGPT, this is my ChatGPT option. It gave me 2 prompts for knee joint pain. And I put those prompts here. And in a short while, it generated images which I don't feel are very appropriate. So like I said, it's a developing technology and most of this is used for generating art rather than generating scientific images. So what I did is I asked Midjourney itself to shorten the prompt. Now, how do you use Midjourney? One of the things is you put the slash and a lot of the options come into play. So the most common option or the basic option is imagine, and you put the prompt, whatever prompt you want. So you can copy the prompt from here. So let me check out this first prompt, which I haven't used before. So once I put it here, it will start generating me images. Okay, it will take some time. It generally takes around 40 seconds to 1 minute. But I can use Midjourney to also shorten the prompt. How do I use it? I can click slash, and this is an option to shorten the prompt. Once I click, I put my large prompt here and I click enter. It will start shortening me the prompt and it will give me a shortened prompt option, which I can again edit. So all this is editable. So let's see what it generated for me in the second option. Once I shortened the prompt, I took the second prompt, I added something like patient holding the knee joint. So again, it generated me some options. You want to see it in a bigger frame, you can just click on it. It will enlarge it, or you can even open it in a browser where you can have a very high resolution image that opens up. So you can go through all these images. It is also showing some knee joint aspect here. It's not accurate at all. Anyways, once we go back here, so I like this image. So I enlarged it. So probably I can use it in my blog when I'm writing an image, writing a blog on knee pain or knee joint anatomy or something like that. So that's how you can utilize this particular thing. There are other apps also, like there is an app called Blue Willow. Again, if you're on Discord, Discord server, you can find Blue Willow also. This is a free AI generation. However, this does not is not as refined as Midjourney. So it gives you very unrefined images. For example, even Ed Sheeran here is not looking very refined. The background is not looking refined. While you go to Midjourney, it looks really refined. Again, here it generated me a intricate anatomy of the knee joint. It's not an accurate anatomy, but it tries to, if I give it a reference image, it might generate much better. Anyways, that's about the image generation here. So I also typed surgeons operating on knee joint with a brain that is watching in a operation table with a dream environment. So it gave me images, something like this. So it can create certain images. For example, this looks nice. So it can create these images. You can also refine the prompt to showcase what they are operating on what is the camera angle. So all those things can be refined by using the prompts. Again, this is another prompt where I put in total knee joint, but it does not understand TKR yet. So once I feed a TKR photograph, probably it will understand it better. This is another, like I said, is used mostly for arts. So I put up a prompt saying human skeleton standing in field of flowers with certain aspects, and it generated me a very, very beautiful image. So the point here is for orthopedic field, especially for writing blogs or social media articles, you can generate very good images with background. If you have a template image, you can upload it on Midjourney and create variations of it. For example, here I generated a very, very simple image with like Batman in Superman suit, something like that. So you can create this easily. I mean, it is also taking, so it generates something like that. So, I mean, it is the aspect of your imagination that how much you can. There are other apps, like I showed you, Blue Willow. Then there is something called as, this is the app by Stable Diffusion. This is Playground AI. Here also you can create similar things. So here I gave it a prompt of the same prompt that I copied from here for the knee joint. I gave it to this particular app. So let's see how does it work with surgeons performing TKR. This again app is a free app. So Playground AI is a web browser based app and it is a free app. So you can use it. It has a kind of, it gives me a drawing board where I can actually shift my images, everything, and even edit it. You can scale it up once you want it to scale up. So it creates me a certain image like this. It's not as refined as Midjourney, like I said. It's a free app, but it will give you a basic idea on what you want. And then you can upscale it to as much as you want. And then again, you can edit all these prompts once you generate the image. There is something called a Stable Diffusion, but it is really complicated. Now there is something called as Midjourney Prompt Generator, huggingface.co. On this, you can actually write what you want to generate, and it will give you a proper prompt for Midjourney. Now Midjourney itself has its own prompt generator, but you can use this also. This is the last part. This is called clip drop. Once you create an image, you can actually upload that image here, and it will give you variations of that particular image. For example, here I uploaded this particular image and it gives me variations of the same image. So if you have a template image, you can upload here and create variations of the same image. Again, it's a developing field and very, very interesting field to work on. So that's all from me.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any questions, Neeraj? Because
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashok, and thank you so much, Dr. Neeraj Bijlani, for this very interesting presentation about the smart apparatus for smart doctors and how to deal with the modern technology in the field of orthopedic practice. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Srinivas?
Fantastic talks. Thank you very much. I'm sure a lot of viewers would take a lot of tips on how to get organized and increase their productivity. Before we get on to questions, I just wanted to ask both of you about Ortho TV, actually, how, when and how you conceived and how you developed it and what is the road to the future.
So Ortho TV, where Ashok conceived it somewhere in 2012-13 and 14 when he met me, he asked me one very simple question. That was in the year 2014 in the Western India Regional Orthopedic Conference, which we called VIROC, which is held in Mumbai every year. He asked me a simple question that you took a lecture I heard on social media for doctors. Unfortunately, I was attending some other scientific talk in the other hall, so I was unable to attend your talk. How do I get access to the recording? So I told him that there is no recording. So that is where the question started. And that time the internet was not so much developed. So that is where how it started, that we should be able to record our conferences and we should be able to put it online somewhere. So where we'll put it? So he said that I have a website called Ortho TV and I'm developing it. Why don't we start doing that? So we start asking people for conference recordings. And we started editing. He started editing videos and started putting it up. This went on for, say, another 3-4 years, where the technology now improved. The internet in India improved and became much faster. And somewhere in 2017, when there was the same conference where I was the organizing secretary of VIROC, he said that we can now have the technology to live relay the whole conference. And the president of the Bombay Orthopedic Society, unfortunately, was unable to attend because he was in US for some visa purpose and visa was not sanctioned. So then we said that we will live relay the whole conference. So as a pilot project, we live relayed the whole conference with some hardware, special hardware, which was needed in those days to the world to see. And our president who was sitting in US could actually see the whole conference. And many others, more than 1,000 people had registered physically, but I think more than 5,000 people saw the conference online. That was something very novelty. Then somewhere in 18, 19, me and Ashok had learned how to use Zoom. The first time I used Zoom was with a US-based company in 2016, where I was beta testing their mobile app on medical for orthopedic patient education. So that is how we already knew about Zoom. And then we started doing webinars at night, like this. In the night, we were doing webinars for half an hour, 1 hour on technology topics, on various topics. So now Ortho TV was really developing. We did live relays of multiple conferences. And when the lockdown hit, we were already knowing how to use Zoom. And that is how we taught everyone how to use Zoom. And we did a lot of webinars. We have now completed 5,000 webinars since the lockdown. And we still do recordings of conferences and live relays of conferences. So our content keeps on growing. But about the future, only Ashok knows what he has in his mind, because he's the idea man. I am just the executioner.
I think the idea that we started was to create a repository of academic content which goes over a period of time and not only gives perspective of present, but also of the past, and gives insight into future as it grows. We also developed the idea of online fellowships and training through Ortho TV. So I think that is the way where we are going ahead in refining the training aspect of training and skill development in orthopedic surgeons through virtual training. So that is, I think, where we are going. We have created the Ortho TV Academy, which holds fellowships as well as online courses. And the result of those things are really, really great in terms of reducing the complications, improving the decision making of surgeons. So all these events have live surgical demonstrations, surgical videos, where mentors share their important tips and tricks from all across the world. So I think that is something unique, where you get perspective of surgeons from all over. For example, we are working now with Egyptian Orthopedic Association. So we are getting a unique perspective from their angle, and they are getting a unique perspective from the Indian subcontinent. So that kind of sharing and collaborating is really working well, and I think future it will build up into a global community where I believe all surgeons can come together, share, and learn and progress. Thanks.
That's great. Thank you very much. Professor El-ashhab, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Dr. Ashok, Dr. Neeraj, I have started online teaching since more than 4 years. And at the start of COVID era, I have started the first webinar in Egypt for online teaching. And I used to make 3 times per week webinars with about 2 to 3 speakers in each webinar. And now, what do you think about the future of online teaching and online virtual meetings after the decline of COVID era and the regain of the physical meetings and face-to-face meetings? How can we still sustain the curve of the online meeting and not to decline, but we want to rise it more and more? What do you think about it, please?
You want to take that, Neeraj?
I think you should take it.
Okay. So we also thought about this angle of once the physical meeting has started, the online meetings will reduce in number. But what we found was it was balancing out. People wanted to attend physical meeting as well as attend the online meetings. When we stream the conferences, which has multiple halls, not everyone can attend all the halls. The same problem that we faced when starting the Ortho TV is back again. And now people know that we can get this information in a very refined way on the online platforms also. So we saw attendance dip a bit after COVID, but now we see that the live surgeons, the numbers are less, but people come back and rewatch all the videos and take what they want. Like you said, the future will be more refined. So we have to curate more refined content on online platforms. So become more and more specific in our webinars, address very specific problem statements that people are facing, not have generalized webinars like just have a webinar on knee arthritis. That will not work. If we look at, say, a single molecule or a single surgical procedure or even a part of a surgical procedure, make it more specific for the online event, that will really, really help and work. So the future is we need to understand from the feedback of our audience what they need and then provide that.
Yes, thank you.
Can I ask how many recordings do you have on Ortho TV and how many members have been registered with the Ortho TV so far? And how do you manage to organize these? And how can any tips on how to find out material easily for the members in Ortho TV?
So we just crossed 2 landmarks. One is orthotvonline.com. Our main website now has 20,000 registered members. And our YouTube channel has crossed 40,000. So YouTube may have general population, also not orthopedic surgeons, but Ortho TV website has 20,000 registered orthopedic surgeons. So once you register, we have now started putting hashtags and keywords everywhere. So you can search. We are also started putting channels. Means supposing if you're looking at only arthroplasty videos, so you can go into the arthroplasty channel and you can search for it. So there are a lot of options for searching. We are trying to make it easily searchable as it is going on. And now once we start getting recordings of conferences, like for example, I just got a record that last month, my employee has uploaded the complete conference of the Bombay Spine Society 2022, that is last year's, which is around 135 videos. So he has segregated the conference into individual lectures. So you may not be interested in the whole session, but if you're interested only, say, maybe seeing how to insert a pedicle screw, then you can just directly go and see that video. Or maybe just somebody who's a spine surgeon and he wants to just see scoliosis deformity getting corrected of live surgery, they can directly go and see that. Something like that. So that is how we are doing it. We are segregating the conference into small videos where you can just attend that individual lecture. Or maybe supposing if you are looking for, say, doing some research or looking for a paper which was presented in a conference, that also we are putting up. Free paper presentations also being put up. Like Ashok did a Viroc Global in 2022, which has more than 300 videos, which we are uploaded now. It will be ready very soon. It will be launched very soon.
How many recordings do you have on the portal?
So if you, I don't know, the number of videos may be more than 10,000.
That's incredible. Regarding ChatGPT, if I may ask, can that be used for writing scientific papers?
So in fact, there is a scientific paper which has been written by ChatGPT. But journals will start putting restrictions. They will start understanding that it is written by ChatGPT. So there are another website which is based on ChatGPT, which I wanted to show is Article AI, where you can actually write. I have not written any scientific article, but for all practical purposes, it will happen. What it does is that it will refine. You can write something and then you can tell the Article AI to refine the article. So that is what will happen. It may not write from scratch, which will be scientifically accurate. So you have all the data, you put in all the data, you write it down, but your language is not clear. And you can just tell it to refine and it will refine and give you a proper article. That it can.
It is better, Srinivas, because it is going to save time. See, when we do research or when we collect data, we want to make a point. That point is made from our data and from our results. The rest of the thing about writing, etc., is just getting the point across. If you have an assistant, a ghostwriter like ChatGPT, who can write for you and then you read it, refine it, make it better, it is going to get better quality of articles. So I'm going to look at it as in a positive framework rather than looking at it in a negative framework.
Yeah.
And
there are multiple.
Like most of us in our editorial board, a lot of time we send back papers saying improve the grammar.
Yes.
Or grammar is a major issue, or putting across the concept that they are thinking is not in a proper way. So this is a tool that will help them.
Yes, there are multiple editorials saying it is not. It has to be reviewed. It cannot be taken.
Absolutely, it cannot be blindly put up.
Yes, yes.
It's a tool to be used. Like we use Grammarly, like we use Authenticate to check plagiarism. It's a software. It tells us these are sentences that are plagiarized. You change them. Same thing with ChatGPT. It will refine us, but we have to read and review and approve.
There is a controversy regarding whether you have to cite ChatGPT or not in your paper.
You should at least acknowledge that this article is written with help of ChatGPT. There is no harm. You acknowledge. We acknowledge a lot of statisticians when we write a paper, that we acknowledge our statistician was helped. So similarly, we can acknowledge. There is no harm. It is not introducing any bias as such. So that's fine till that time.
Regarding PDF AI, is that a free portal or is it paid or is there a limit of?
It's a free portal, but there is a limit where you can upload, I think, only till 16.
Only one document at a time. You can upload multiple documents, but at one time you can upload only one. So you delete that, then you have to upload another one.
And there is a size restriction also, maybe I think 16.
10 megabytes only.
Yeah, 16 or 10, okay.
So you cannot upload a big book, like you cannot upload the whole Campbell and tell it to basically give you answers.
Yeah.
You can upload maybe one chapter or maybe one article.
But like I said, AI is still refining technology. You can't blindly trust currently, even now, when you upload the PDF and ask it question, you can't blindly trust that it is giving you, because it also has access to a larger database. So I was talking to Neeraj, as we give it more and more specific query, it accesses a larger database and gives us more and more vague answers, rather than giving us more specific answers. If you give it a vague query, it gives us a better specific answer.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you so
much. I think there was one question about that was removed, is it?
The cybercrime.
One question from the viewers regarding cybercrime. Yes.
Yeah, I think Neeraj can take that.
So I have answered that, but basically cybercrime means right now in India, what is happening is that there is a lot of finance related crimes. Basically, people are trying to take your money and it keeps on changing so fast. Recently, in fact, a police officer who was working in a small town of Kolhapur shifted from Kolhapur to Mumbai. So I was and he brought his child to me for a fracture. So while putting the plaster, I was just discussing with him that what do you think is different in Mumbai? So he says there is a lot of cyber crime in Mumbai, which is not there in the other smaller cities. The issue is that always remember one very important thing. To receive any kind of payment, you don't have to share OTP. The maximum share you'll have to do is your mobile number, or you share a QR code. Do not scan any code. Do not share any OTP. Do not share your debit or credit card number. Especially do not share the expiry date and the CVV. These are the things, if you do not share, then the cyber crime will automatically reduce. For cyber crime to happen, it is like we all are learning what are the different forms of cyber crime. When Google Pay came, they started telling you to scan QR codes. So for making payments, yes, you have to scan a QR code. For receiving any kind of payment, you don't have to scan any code whatsoever. So most important is that do not try to scan any QR code for receiving payments. If you want to receive payments, either you share your account details or you share the mobile number. That's it. You do not scan any code. That is what is need to be remembered. So you yourself have to reduce your cybercrime. You have to understand what kind of, and it keeps on changing. From every time it keeps on changing. So basically we have to keep on updating ourselves. The other type of cybercrime which will happen in the future because of the AI, I'll just tell you one last point, which will happen is basically they will take your image and they will put it online and they will start harassing you for money. It has happened to us. It can happen to anyone. Do not pick up unknown video calls. Never.
And also in Facebook, we see a lot of people's accounts have been duplicated, and the new account holder asked for money from the friends of the original account holder.
So that is now become very easy. Instagram and Twitter are taking money to give you a blue tick. So just buy it. Buy the blue tick. Pay, say, around $10 a month and buy the blue tick for yourself and your account becomes verified. And that is the easiest thing to do. You buy a verified account so that even if people make duplicate, your account is verified.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Finally, I would like to thank Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Ashok from Ortho TV. And now we will shift to the another speaker, our dear Indian speaker, Dr. Professor Radwan Metwaly, Professor of Orthopedic Surgery at Shyam University. We will move from the modern technology to the standard orthopedic. Dr. Radwan will speak about the care of the elderly fractures, the orthogeriatric approach. Please, sir.
So thank you, Dr. El-ashhab, for your kind invitation to share in this meeting. And I think that my presentation will be quite different than what we heard from my colleagues, because I'm going to talk about orthopedic, real orthopedic surgery. And my presentation will be about the care of the elderly fractures, what we call the orthogeriatric approach. And let's start with this case for a male patient, 81 years old, who had a simple fall followed by right intertrochanteric femoral fracture. And he gave a history of cerebrovascular stroke 15 years ago. So he was on antiplatelets, low-dose aspirin for all these 15 years. And upon anesthesia consultation, we heard the common and repeated answer from them, just delay the patient for 3 days. But actually, when the patient had been delayed for 3 days, he started to have a bad chest condition in the form of cough, tachypnea, chest secretions, and upon chest consultation, they told us that we have pneumonia. So again, the anesthesia asked to delay the patient for 2 other days just to improve his chest condition. But unfortunately, upon this, the patient started to have bed sores, upon which we have a plastic consultation and started to have constipation. And we had an internal medicine consultation to give him medical treatment. And again, the anesthesia asked to delay the patient another 2 days to improve his medical condition. But unfortunately, the patient again had started to be irritable, sleepiness, and upon neurological consultations, they told us that the patient has delirium. So again, the anesthesia entered us in this vicious circle of delaying the patient. And with each time, we have an increased number of consultations, increased investigations, more medications for the patient, of course, more cost for treating the patient, but the most important that we have increased the morbidity and mortality. So this will be our learning objectives about explaining what is the different criteria of the geriatric patient and the osteoporotic fractures, to introduce what we call the orthogeriatric co-management principles for elderly fracture care, and to demonstrate some of the tactics for the fixation for osteoporotic fractures. And actually, I have no conflict of interest. This is my disclosure. And when we talk about what is the different things for the elderly fractures, we are talking about a different population that is having more comorbidities, medical comorbidities. They are taking upon which more medications, which we call the polypharmacy. And actually, they might be physically dependent, whether on the walking aids or on other people. And when they are fractured, for the metaphyseal diaphyseal fractures, it's commonly to be comminuted, and sometimes the diaphysis is occupied by other implants, like this previous arthroplasty of the hip. And when it is involving the articular segment, it is usually a very short and comminuted part. And when we are talking about their bone, actually they are osteoporotic, and many of them is having arthritis. So now it's clear that we are dealing with a different patient that will have a special fracture on a very weak bone. As regards these patients, it has been recorded that there is increased risks of morbidity and mortality for the patients. This was especially evident for the hip fractures, when mortality might reach up to 58%. But actually, this had been proved not only to be specific to the hip fractures. And again, the mortality after the distal femoral fractures in the elderly might reach up to 38% if they are treated non-surgically. And you can predict the mortality of your patient by increased the comorbidities, decreased level of ambulation, and of course, if you delayed your surgery. So the first rule when you are dealing with this patient is to do no further harm for them. And as early as possible, you should do your surgery. Another issue is the bed rest, which whether due to delayed surgery or after the surgery. And actually, bed rest is very bad because it will lead to multi-system irreversible consequences in the form of many diseases like the thromboembolic diseases, pressure ulcers, urinary tract infection, atelectasis, and other comorbidities. So the second rule is to return to the activity of the patient as early as possible. And when you have a patient that can walk, you should encourage him to walk. And if he is not able to walk, you should encourage him to take a higher level of activity, like spending time outside the bed, sit on a chair for meals or something like that. Now, what about the upper limb fractures? We know that many of the osteoporotic geriatric fractures of the upper limb are treated conservatively, but you should always think that they need their free range of motion by giving them mobility, and they actually depend on their upper limbs as a weight-bearing limbs when they are using the walking aids. So you have to fix their fractures, and you should add stability to the fractures to allow early return to their quality of life and become independent. So these are our three goals. First, do not do further harm to your patient. allow him to return to his level of activity as early as possible, and always think that he's needing to be independent. And actually, this is what is offered by what we call the orthogeriatric co-management. And it's defined as a team approach starting from admission till full recovery. And your team should involve not only the orthopedic surgeon and the anesthesiologist, it should include an internalist or a geriatrician if you have in your hospital, and the physiotherapist. And actually, we consider these patients are geriatric patients with another super added new morbidity, which is the fracture, and it can be eliminated to renormalize the physiological status of the patient as soon as possible. And with applying these co-management protocols, it had been found that there is a decrease in the hospital stay of the patients, about 10%. There is decrease of the rate of readmission, about 7.6%. And there is increase in the costs of the treatment for about 60%. And the most important, as you can see the red line here, that is the co-management allow your patient to return as early as possible to their activity of daily livings and mobility. But the first
Sir? Professor Radwan?
Probably disconnected, sir.
Yeah, I think. Yes, sir. You are with us, Professor Radwan?
Yes, I'm with you. I think that the connection has been interrupted.
Yes, please.
So, did you hear till this point?
The last slide, it was interrupted.
Okay, we can repeat it again. That we can. Yes. The first question is where you should treat your patient. And actually, we have one of three.
Can you share your screen, please, sir? Can you share your screen?
Okay.
It's not shared.
So I will share it again.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can treat our patient whether in the orthopedic unit with geriatric consultation when needed, or you can admit your patient in the orthopedic unit plus having an integrated geriatrician in your unit, or you can do the reverse by admitting your patient to the geriatric unit and being as an orthopedic consultation for the patient. And you should remember that we considered our patients as geriatric patients with a super added comorbidity, which is the fracture. So actually what has been evidence that this is the best module to minimize the complication of the patient. Again, for the time of treating the patient, you should always consider it as an urgent but not an emergent. So it's better to be done within the 24 or 48 hours from the fracture. Because in this period, you can control what could be controlled from the morbidities of the patient, like chest infection, UTI, starting the antibiotics, improving the renal function of the patient, but do not enter the patient without controlling such minor problems or what could be controlled. And actually, the phases of the co-management starts from the pre-operative stage of the patient, then the surgery itself, then the post-operative, the recovery, and ends by the prevention of another fracture. And where we are is in the stage of the operation, the post-operative, the recovery. You will have the OO trauma applying you one of the apps that can help you with controlling your patient. And actually, our rule will be in the orthopedic, in the operation stage, and we encourage doing what we call a single shot surgery. So, like if you have a trochanteric fracture in a patient that's osteoporotic, that have multiple comorbidities, and you are thinking about whether to fix or to replace, if you think that your patient cannot have another surgery, it's better to do the arthroplasty for him. So now we can shift to talk about the bone. And of course, we know that these patients have another valid option that is not always used with the younger age population, which is to replace the fractured part. And this actually is common in the hip and now becoming popular for the knee and also for the shoulder. And again, this option can be used when we have an articular segment which is very short and comminuted due to the osteoporosis that the patients have. And we know that the WHO is defining osteoporosis as decreased bone mass plus micro-architecture changes, which is in the form of broken crosslinks in the cancellous bone and trabecular thinning. So when you are fixing this bone by the conventional screws, of course, there will be less pull-out strength, adding to more toggling of the screw in this bone, minimizing the rigidity of your fixation. So the angular stability implants, like the locked plate and screws, will be better to be used in these patients. And again, for the microarchitecture changes in the cortical bone, they have increased diameter and decreased thickness of the cortex. So if you are thinking to use a unicortical screw, it will have less working length. So it's better to use a bicortical screw in the osteoporotic fracture to increase your working length. And for the screw and blade stability in the osteoporotic bone, you can see in the conventional screws, actually the screw compresses the blade to the bone, leading to what we call the bone blade friction. And this is the basics of the stability we have in the conventional plate and screws. But in the locked plates, the screw anchors the plate to the bone, like what we call the internal fixator. So you need more stress and more shear stress to break this rigid fixation. So like we can see here, if we applied a shear force in the conventional system, it will lead to more displacement of the bone. But actually, the same shear stress, if applied to the locked plates, it will lead to less shearing of the bone. And actually, by this toggling of the screws, the plates in the conventional system fails in sequential manner, but in the locked plates, it fails in block. And this is gives us more rigid fixation in cases of osteoporotic fractures. But when we are dealing with osteoporotic fracture, do not forget that if you increase the stiffness, there will be a stress riser leading to bone failure rather than implant failure. So you should always balance between the stiffness you are giving to the patient by your fixation and the stability of the construct. But how to apply these locked plates? First, you should distribute the screws on every side of the plate, like we can see here in these photos. And as we know, for axial stability in normal bone, 3 screws is enough, but actually in osteoporotic bone, it has been proven for adding more rotational stability, that is a 4th screw will be better. And again, you should distribute the screws in each side of the fracture, because if you have a simple fracture, you have a very short segment upon which stresses are applied on. And to avoid this stress concentration, you should distribute your screws away from the fracture in cases of simple fracture. And in case like this, what we can see here, if you try in cases of metaphyseal and diaphyseal comminution to apply what we call the anatomical reduction and absolute stability, thinking that adding more circulage wires, too many screws will be better, of course, it will lead to a catastrophic failure of fixation because of the increased stresses. So you should always follow the principles for the metaphyseal diaphyseal fractures by giving the patient the functional reduction and relative stability. So this is what we want to see, like in this picture with the distributed stresses to distribute the stress. Another option that you should always put in your mind while you are fixing osteoporotic bones is to use what we call the variable angle plates. So as in this picture, you can use this screw with the red arrow for fixing the radial styloid, or to change its direction if you want a more lengthy screw if the size of the bone is larger than the size of the plate. For diaphyseal and metaphyseal fractures, of course, we know that nails are the best option. But you should always stay alert because in the elderly, the bone might be deformed, and this might lead to penetration by the nail for the bone. To augment our fixation, sometimes we use what we call the nail plate combination, like in this case, or we might use the double plating like in the distal femur or the proximal tibia. Cement have been used also to augment our fixation, especially in the femoral head and the proximal humerus. And let me end my presentation by this case for a female patient, 81 years old, which was diabetic, cardiac, did open heart surgery. The ejection fraction was 37. Also on antiplatelets, independent level of activity. Came with moderate swelling of the knee. So she did double fixation by medial and lateral fixation of the proximal tibia. And actually she started her walking on the second day. But upon discharge, the patient was on calcium and vitamin D, and DEXA was done with a T-score of -3.5, but she refused to take other medications for osteoporosis. So 6 months later, she came with a proximal femoral fracture, intertrochanteric fracture. And before her fracture, we can see that her condition as regards the ejection fraction became worsened. So with every time, actually this patient had again refused to use the anti-osteoporosis treatment and came to me with another other side proximal femoral fracture after another 1 year. And then she came to me after another 6 months with a distal radial fracture. So what was missed here was the last phase of the co-management for this patient, which is the prevention of further fractures by osteoporosis diagnosis, and to ensure that the patient is taking the proper treatment. And also you should prevent falling. And this actually should be done through what we call the fracture liaison service, which is controlled by what we call a case manager, which might be the geriatrician himself. So in brief, we are dealing with different population that will have special characters of their fractures on a weak bone and arthritic joints. And actually these patients have these goals to be applied. You should do not further harm for these very sensitive patients. You should allow them to return to their level of activity as early as possible. And you should always think that they need to be independent. This is actually applied by a team approach through the co-management care of the elderly. And you will find that is the application of the AO trauma orthogeriatric beside you, helping you in dealing with your patient during the different phases of management. We have different new option for dealing with this patient, which is the arthroplasty than the young adults. And for fixation, you should always think about the angular stable implants, which is the locked plates. And it's better to use a bicortical than a unicortical screws. And you can augment your fixation whether by using cement or to use a different option like the variable angle plates. For metaphysio-diaphyseal fractures, you should always think about the principle. You have to have a functional reduction with relative stability, and you should always balance between the stiffness and the stability you are giving to your patient. It's better to use 4 screws on each side. For diaphyseal fractures, it's better to use nails, but stay alert that this patient might have a deformity of their long bones, and you can augment your fixation for the diaphyseal fractures by the nail plate combination, and for the metaphysio-diaphyseal fractures by double plating. So thank you, and I hope that this presentation was fruitful for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Radwan, for this very interesting presentation about a very interesting topic, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bijlani.
I think in the geriatric, we are in a challenge between the doing the operation as early as possible and in the same time adjusting the general condition of the patient, which is a challenge for every orthopedic surgeon. Can we say in any patient that this patient is unfit for surgery, unfit for anesthesia? Is there a patient that's called unfit for surgery?
Actually, this question should be referred to an anesthesiologist, because actually they are doing surgery for the open heart surgery for patients who are already dying.
Yes.
So I think that this should not be a choice unless actually there is a very major risk for the patient.
Yes.
And then we should think about different modalities for treating the patient, like using the local peripheral anesthesia, the nerve blocks, something like that to do our surgery. But yes, the benefit we gain from early mobilizing our patients have been proven to improve their quality of life and also to minimize the morbidity and the mortality risk.
Yes, because we have no other option in this old geriatric patient. If he's not unfit, if he's unfit for surgery, what to do? Yeah, you have to leave him to die.
Exactly. This is should be. You should do our efforts to encourage our anesthesiologists to deal with us with this shared problem. We call it a shared problem. They think that this is an orthopedic patient, and the only responsible is the orthopedic surgeon, and this concept should be changed. This is a shared responsibility between the orthopedic surgeon, the anesthesiologist, the geriatrician. Every effort should be done to allow for the surgery for the patient.
Yes, I think in Ain Shams University, there is a geriatric medicine department.
Yes, we actually have started the co-management protocol since 2019. And actually, the geriatric department is very old. I think this is the oldest geriatric department in Egypt. And actually, we have gained the golden level for the fracture liaison service, which is concerned with management of osteoporotic fractures by the team, not only by the orthopedic surgeon.
Yeah, it's very important to have a geriatric medicine department in every university. I'm planning to do to make another one in my university. As you know, I'm the Dean of Benha Faculty of Medicine, so I'm planning to do one in my Faculty of Medicine.
But if you don't have a geriatrician, you can depend on the internal medicine department, because they actually can help you so much in these cases.
Yes, sir. We have one question from one of dear attendees, Dr. Sanjay. In geriatric orthopedic surgery, we should be careful in using implants as it will penetrate the bone to more extent than required, like in tibial pinning. What do you think, sir?
I think he means that the deformed bone, like I have shown in my presentation, is his question is for that?
Maybe in deformed bone and maybe in osteoporotic bone. Sometimes if we do dynamization in tibial pinning in an osteoporotic bone. You got penetration of the nail into the ankle joint sometimes.
This is if you are not choosing the proper size.
Yes, Dr. Srinivas, please, sir.
Yes, sir. I think what he probably meant was careful about the selection of the implants. Probably use a less stiffer material implant, say titanium, rather than using stainless steel. Stainless steel is more stiff than titanium, so that is probably better.
Yes, and I think you should be cautious when you are doing any sort of fixation in geriatric patients. Sometimes I'm an arthroplasty surgeon, as you know. I don't do revision surgery or long stem prosthesis in any geriatric patient except with C-arm guided, with fluoroscopy, because I am very afraid of penetration of one cortex due to osteoporosis. So I have to be cautious.
Can I ask one question, sir?
Yes, please. Please, sir.
It's a great presentation. Thank you very much, Dr. Metwaly. I think you've made an important point that these fragility fractures are very frequently seen, and the chances of them increases with one fragility fracture. In the next 2 years, the chance of having another fracture is far higher.
Yeah.
So it's important to identify them as a fragility fracture. I think the most important point is a lot of these are missed because they're not identified as osteoporotic fractures. Do you screen your population for osteoporosis? What are your views on screening for osteoporosis? And after a fracture, when do you start the patients on osteoporotic medications?
Yes, thank you, sir. This is a very important question because the screening for osteoporosis is very important in the elderly. And once you have one fracture in a patient that is in the age group above 65, whether his DEXA scan is more than minus 2.5 or less than 2.5, it's not a judgment for the having an osteoporosis. It should be considered as a fragility fracture. And this is very common during the distal radial fractures, the wedge fractures of the spine. And actually, they should start the anti-osteoporosis treatment as early as possible. And for the screening of osteoporosis in Egypt, we have one study that has been done in Ashok University by our dear professor, Dr. Osama Farouk. And they found that we have about more than 75% of the patients of this age group not having a treatment or a supplement for the vitamin D or the osteoporosis. So this is one cause of increasing the number of fragility fractures. And although this might be beneficial for orthopedic surgeons because they will have more surgeries, but actually this might not be good for the patients. For the part of the question as regard when to start the osteoporosis treatment, it depends on the what you are going to use. It has been evidence that there is no problem to start the anti-osteoporosis treatment as early as possible, even 2 weeks from your surgery, after your surgery, because the old concept was to delay the anti-osteoporosis treatment because it will delay the healing. But actually, it has been proven that we should start it even after our surgery by 2 weeks. So I usually start my treatment of osteoporosis with the calcium and vitamin supplements immediately after the surgery, and the anti-osteoporosis treatment 2 weeks following surgery. And this is managed mainly by our geriatricians, not by our side, because we need to control to monitor the renal function of the patient. Some have co-interaction with other drugs. So it's better to be done by the geriatrician.
Yeah, I think your statistic is close to the global statistics. Up to 80% of these fractures are missed, osteoporotic fractures. So it's important to recognize these. And I'm not sure how easy it is to do a DEXA scan in Egypt, but in India, not all places have a DEXA scan. So it's important to screen these using some kind of questionnaires to find out whether make a risk assessment to see if they have a higher risk of having osteoporosis and osteoporotic fractures.
Actually, right now we have a presidential call for the treatment of the geriatrics, the geriatric patients. It's not specific for the orthopedic patients, but it's for the geriatric patient. This call had started about 3 years, and now the treatment for osteoporosis started, like we have said, when the patient have one single fracture of the common fractures for the fragility, like the distal radius, the wedge fracture. And we are not now depending on the DEXA scan anymore, because it's not accurate. The most accurate diagnosis of osteoporosis, the best way is to do the bone turnover markers. And actually, it's not present in Egypt. It should be done outside Egypt, and the results return after about 2 months. So actually, we are depending on the history of the patient.
Yeah. Okay. I think we have no more questions. Finally, I would like to thank from India, Dr. Neeraj and Dr. Ashok, and from Egypt, my dear friend, Dr. Radwan Metwaly from Ain Shams University. And finally, a big thank to my dear friend, Dr. Srinivas, for his great help and great support to make this course finally in this very, very eminent picture. Thank you so much. Also for Ortho TV and for Eva Pharma Company for sponsoring this course. See you next Friday with 2 eminent speakers from India, actually from USA and from Egypt, with 2 presentations about shoulder arthroplasty. Thank you so much and have a nice time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.